Well, Sean Teis, thank you so much for joining me today. You do such important work with your ministry. So I want to start at the beginning and share your story of growing up in a fatherless home and how that really influenced what you do now with Life Factors Fatherless Ministries.
Yeah, it's interesting you asked that because it's impacting so many kids across this country, fatherlessness. And my story is just like many others. My dad came home. He was an alcoholic, came home in a drunken rage when I was about 9 months old, and threw my mother and my brother and my sister out of our home, but for some reason he kept me. And my mom was nervous. She was in a panic. She ran over to the neighbor's house and got the cops to come. They showed up. My dad took me and threw me across the room to the cops. And I call that day my beginning of my fatherless journey. So I started my fatherless journey. And that was the day that my dad really rejected me. He said, "I'm done with you." He actually packed up his things and moved back to his hometown of Las Vegas, Nevada after that, and never came back and left us in a small town in Pennsylvania. And so that started my fatherless journey. And through that, we were left all alone in this trailer park in Pennsylvania. And my grandparents and then helped pick up the pieces. They came and helped my mom out. And that's where it all started. And I started this, like I said, this journey of trying to figure out life without a dad. But I had a grandfather that poured into my life. I had a church people that poured into my life and helped me along that path. But so many kids don't get to have that opportunity where they have people that care about them and love them and help them. And so that's why we do what we do.
Why is fatherlessness such an epidemic? What do we see happen to these children who grow up without a father, who grow up without this really important figure in their lives?
The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services says that fatherless children are at a dramatically greater risk of drug and alcohol abuse, mental illness, suicide, poor educational performance, teen pregnancy, and criminality. And if you notice, there's many things involved in that, right? Drug and alcohol addiction. And we look at our country and we're like, why are all these things happening? Why are all these people committing crime? Why is all this abortion happening? And it's not always from fatherlessness, but many times these kids are growing up without a dad, without a mom, without both. And we say in our ministry that a child's life, when they have a mom and a dad in their life, it's in balance, right? Looking at a scale. And when mom or dad's gone, their life's off balance. And we wonder, well, why are they so messed up? Well, because their life's off balance. And they need people to bring God into their life to bring their life back into balance. And so that's why they go down this path of committing crime or drug and alcohol addiction to try to cope with these things. And even in there, it says mental illness. A lot of times we'll just medicate children and tell them, hey, you take this medicine, it'll calm you down, where they just need a loving mentor a lot of times. And sometimes they do need medication. There's a chemical imbalance. There's different things like that. But sometimes they just need somebody to tell them, I love you, I believe in you, and I care about you. And these kids, we're just kind of medicating them, or we're just kind of giving them a tablet to play on. And we're not giving them people that care about their life and want to help them succeed in life. And that's what we're all about, trying to help them really break that cycle.
So what are some strategies your ministry employs to address this crisis?
Well, we've done a variety of different things. The whole ministry started off with a book called The Fatherless Journey for Guys. And so I shared the top 30 things you deal with being fatherless. I shared my stories in there. I pulled other people, what they dealt with growing up fatherless. And so we covered the top 30 things. And we wrote that back in 2008. That's when it first started. It's been a couple different revisions of that. Since then, we're actually about to revise and expand it again. But that's where the whole ministry started. And then we did one for girls as well, The Fatherless Journey for Girls. We started out with books. And then we had the single mom journey. And then we launched a mobile app in 2017 called God is My Dad, godismydad.com. And you could find that on the App or Google Play Store. And the reason why we launched that was because we realized that we were covering it in a negative tone, right? We would say broken homes, we would say fatherlessness, and we wanted to bring something to light. And God gave us God is My Dad. And so we started this brand, and everybody we tell about it, they love it because it's such a positive thing for children. Hey, I don't have an earthly dad, but God is my dad, and He cares about me. It's my story too. God's my dad. Through a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, God will be your heavenly Father. And so we've done print, we've done resources with digital media, with our app. We also do mentoring ourselves. We've done mentoring where we work with kids, and we challenge people to get involved in doing mentoring in an organic setting, not necessarily, we don't have a program that we push, because one of the things, I was a youth pastor for several years, and one of the last things I would want is another program. And so we try to figure out ways that we could do this where it wasn't a formal program where churches could just kind of take our resources and adapt them in whatever way they could. And so you can be just an individual in a church that says, hey, there's this niece or nephew I have that's fatherless, or a kid down the street, or this grandparent raising their grandkids. I can help that family family out. And so that's how we go about it with our ministry, at least right now, where it's an organic approach. And I've spoken in over 200 churches challenging people to get involved in reaching their circle of influence is what we call it. So we do print, we do digital, we help people locally with these things. We also have single mom ministries that we're launching. Our goal is to get at least one single mom ministry in every county of the United States. It's a big goal. But if we can reach those single moms, evangelize them, and disciple them, then imagine the difference we can make in these kids' lives. And so there's a variety of different ways that we do this ministry.
I love that you partner with local churches because that is so important. That's the hands and feet of Christ right there. This is such an issue in the United States and around the world. Why don't we hear more about it, both in culture and from the pulpit, frankly?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you, because it's been an uphill climb. And really, over the past 15 plus years, trying to get pastors to take this issue serious. And I think during 2020, during a lot of the things that were going on with Black Lives Matter or the riots, fatherlessness was being brought out more. It was being talked about more, at least what we saw from our ministry compared to what it was before that. But it's affecting every single person in the United States of America. We try to tell people that in churches when I speak. It's affecting everybody. But they don't want to shine a light on it. They want to shine a light on the negative things a lot of times. I'm not bashing pastors. I was a youth pastor. I worked on the staff at a church. You do as much as you can, but I honestly believe that churches need to shine a light on this. And we have resources to help them with that, but they got to shine a light on it. And I think it's because it's such a messy thing. Fatherless ministry is a messy situation. You're helping a single mom, you're helping a fatherless child or a motherless child and a single dad or a grandparent raising grandkids or an aunt or an uncle raising their niece or nephew, or there's so many different situations. And it's a messy thing, but there's hope that we can bring to them through a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And we can do that and we can disciple them. It's not as complicated as it needs to be. And I honestly believe the devil tries to make it more complicated than it is. And even now we're seeing that the government's not putting out statistics like they used to. Like that quote I said from the beginning with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, you don't see them putting those statistics just out in front of everybody like they used to, because I believe they have a grip on the fatherless, and they know that. The government knows that. And so our job as Christians is to go to the fatherless around us and spread hope to them individually. That's the best way to do it. And as pastors, we need to be preaching about it. We need to be telling our people. I mean, James 1:27 clearly says that it's pure religion. It says it's pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction and to keep himself unspotted from the world. That's what the Bible tells us in James 1:27. And we as Christians must be practicing pure religion by visiting the fatherless. And if you look at that, the root of fatherlessness in that verse, it's talking about a child that is missing one of their parents, lacking a guide, either a mom or a dad or both. And if you look at widow there, a lot of times we'll do widow ministry. If you look at widow there, it's talking about a woman who's lost her husband due to death or abandonment. And that could be, it's a single mom that's lost her husband or whatever it might be. So there's so many ways we can get involved in this, but all of us as Christians need to practice pure religion.
Absolutely. Now you have your son here, which is really special. How has being a father yourself impacted the way you view your ministry? It's been a challenge because I'm trying to break the cycle myself. My dad grew up fatherless. I grew up fatherless, and so I don't want that to be for my kids. And so when we first started our ministry over 15 years ago, I would travel a lot and do our ministry when they were little. And I realized real fast, I need to be bringing them with me. We need to do this together. And so we stopped that, and I started making sure that I at least travel with one of my kids, or making sure that they're there, because we want to be together as a family. We even did a Hope for Fatherless America national tour from 2019 through 2021. We traveled together as a family. We bought an RV, traveled around the country, did a tour, and it was amazing to be together to do ministry. And I think it impacts my kids because they get to see us working and doing the work of the ministry, and it's helping them. And I'm just excited to have them with me. I mean, it's way better than being alone, right? Absolutely. I love that. Well, Sean, thank you so much. This is just really important work.
Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.